Do we need to do one?
It's the last game. I guess we should. Otherwise, no. We could pretend that
I didn't know what
the
you were
result
doing
was
there.
different.
I didn't even know we're starting.
Just do it.
Kentucky lost. It happened again. At least it wasn't a 50 burger, so that's good. Yeah, not a whole lot of things that happened that were good. Just it's bad. It's real bad. Another top 10 team, another 28-point loss. I mean, Ramon Jefferson, he almost scored a touchdown, Drew. That was kind of cool.
I mean, it was good to see him. Thought the flyover was neat.
That
was before the game started. Helicopters. I felt like we were in a great place at the flyover and the team running on the field. But once they put that ball in the tee, it went the other way in a hurry, didn't it?
I mean, Josh Heupel wasn't calling that offense, but it was still 21-0 after 4 Kentucky offensive plays. I mean, just snap your fingers. Every time you take one step forward, they'd go 10 steps backwards. They were doing the freaking cha-cha slide for the sickos out there. It was disgusting. It was gross. I mean, look, I just can't. You got them in 3rd and 18, and then they just 30-yard gain. I mean, it's every single time you thought like the Kentucky defense had them in a good position, Alabama would make a big play, and then the game was never. I mean, it was over. It was over as soon as it started.
I think there's 3 big storylines in this game. First one is first quarter. Like, fall behind 10-0 at Tennessee. Game ended first quarter against Georgia. The game ended in Alabama. They're up 21-0. You've ran 4 plays. One of them was a fumble. You got to start games better than that. Then the second one is, I think, the defense just overall. The second one I would say, offense had a chance to climb back in the game. They didn't play complimentary football, right? They got the ball in the second quarter, down 21-7, I believe, chance to score.
3 possessions, they were down 28-7 inside Alabama territory, 0 points.
So you had a chance to really go and win that game. And then complimentary football in the second half, right? You score, cut it 28-14. All right, you get a quick stop here. Things might change a little bit, but that doesn't happen. And then finally, I think just story of the Kentucky season defensively. Like, what is going on? Offensively, I think you look at big picture, that's kind of what you could expect. Realistically, them to do against that Alabama defense. Have some moments, but they sputter out at the same time, but did some good things. I think defensively is a problem. Alabama, 49 points, season high in an SEC game. Tennessee, 7.2 yards per play, season high in an SEC game. Georgia, 51 points and 9.1 yards per play, season high in an SEC game. In your other game, they scored 38. Missouri scored 38 points. You couldn't get a stop late in the game. Fourth quarter, they just blitzed you for 3 touchdowns. The Kentucky. Okay, if this is the defense they're going to play, if you're built to play like this, your offense needs to be tempo offense. You need to be put on the gas. You need to go try to win games 45-42. They're not built to play like that, so their defense you just can't survive winning like that. And like in these games, you're coming in there and you're just saying, all right, we're going to get blown out today. That's just not a winning recipe. It's not a efficient operation in any regard. And so you have to figure out as a team, who are we? If you're going to be a pro style and eliminate explosive plays, you can't just let them march them down and score 3 touchdowns first drives. I think they had 12 drives today, Nick. I believe it was 12 drives. They scored 7 touchdowns, and one was a drive at the end with the reserve. So 7 touchdowns in 10 possessions. It's no way to live.
Can I give a shout out real quick?
No, let's give a shout out.
I want to give a shout out to a lot of people who paid a lot of money to come to this game. They tailgated. They got to the gates, and it was a little slow with their tickets, but they're still fired up, and they finally get in, and they sit down as 21-0. I want to give them a shout-out, because I know there's a lot of them. I've talked to some of you. You didn't even get the moment to believe today. So all of you all, it was just a decent crowd inside. It filled up, but in the beginning, still lots of seats as people were walking in. When they sat down, it was already 21-0. So shout-out to you all. You all had intentions of watching a football game, and I'm sorry you didn't get one.
I am not defensive expert by any means necessary. I don't get paid millions of dollars to do this for a living. Maybe don't let the guy run with nobody on him downfield on 3rd and long. I don't just. Were there even other UK defensive players in the frame when that was happening? It was just so bad. Blown coverages, not knowing where to go, and then. To your point too, like they had opportunities to get off the field, and Alabama was 7 of 11 on 3rd down. They just converted whenever they wanted to, oftentimes under difficult situations. The defense, the secondary's bad, and stars matter. You know, you look around at that group, and it's a lot of mid 3-star guys that are playing out there. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is the guys didn't get better from last year. Like, we did have a Jordan Love interception. That was a good thing.
Yeah, I think secondary is a problem this year. It just is. They can't cover. They can't cover people. Like Brad White talked about today, we ran cover 0, we ran zone, we did this, yada yada yada. Bottom line is they cannot cover, so they don't know whether to blitz, drop 8. They can't cover, and that has showed up in the big moments against good offenses this year. Every time they just can't cover people, so they have to look kind of. Do we need an overhaul? Like, do we need to rebuild this room? What do we need to do there? But overall, it's not just a secondary. Like it's team defense. It's play caller. It's identity. It's what we want to do on defense. All of that. You cannot play Kentucky's style of football and have defense like this in these big games. You're just not built to win. You're not built to beat Tennessee. You're not built to beat Tennessee scoring 38 points, needing to score 38 points every time. You're not built to beat Missouri 41-38. You're not built to beat Alabama 42-41. So do you need to be built like that? I think that's the real question you need to ask. Do they need to stylistically make some changes? I think that's a fair thing to ask right now because we're sitting in a situation where they might beat everyone else on their schedule.
Yeah. Well, and
but we're sitting here, and here's another thing: you play 7 home games in that stadium. You've lost 3 of them. You lost 3 of the 4 that matter in that stadium.
Can't do it.
You lost 3 of last year. You lose to Vanderbilt. You lose to Beamer. It can't. It can't happen. Like what Drew mentioned. Sorry for the people that showed up here, or credit to you, but that matters when you're building a program, when you're doing good things. Like, you have to reward the fans.
Yeah.
That's a big part of all of this, is going in there and playing well and winning big games at home. The Florida game was awesome, but now we're looking back, and it's just been 2 years of at home. And that's just not a good thing. You've got to win big games at home, and they just didn't do it this year. And they had an opportunity. This game was always going to be hard, but it makes the Missouri and Tennessee game sting even more today.
And the thing is, you kind of, when we get towards the offseason, you rattle off of like, well, this is a problem, this is a problem. They got another one on there because, I might have excused Mark Stoops' answer for some of it. Those teams are good too. When he's playing top 10 teams, you excuse some of it, Drew, when they are the 1 and 2. But Alabama hasn't been doing this to teams all year long. They just haven't. But they did it to you, and they keep doing it to you. So next level talk, don't get your ass kicked by a top 10 team every time you play them. They lose about 28 points every time they play a top 10 team. That's what it's been like the last 10 games.
I'm realistic when it's where Kentucky football is against some of these big teams, and I try to be patient and understanding. But then when I see Missouri go play Georgia close, or Arkansas play Alabama close, or Tennessee go up at Tuscaloosa just 2 weeks ago,
27.5.
That's when I'm like, all right, Kentucky's capable. If they're capable of doing that, then Kentucky should be capable of doing that, and that's where I can't forgive it. Yes, Alabama's better. What did he say? They're not average. We know they're not average. They're elite. But other teams still manage to put up a fight against them.
Kentucky has, over the last, let's say since 2018, they have been, I think you could argue, a legitimate top 25 football program. I think there might be some people that disagree, but I think mostly, and I think big picture, people kind of see them as that. But in all those years, they've played Georgia every year. They've played Alabama twice now. They're not even coming close in these games. Yeah. And it's you should have played a couple by now, Nick, if that's who you are, where it's in the fourth quarter, the game's in doubt. Whether you win it or not, that's another topic for another day. But that's really, I think, the frustrating part. And then Kentucky, they've been acknowledged as, they play really good defense here. And that's just not the case this year. And you look at specifically the front 7 personnel. I think the front 7 personnel is good. I think they have depth. Like, they lost Wallace. I didn't think they really lost much when David Rayner came in there. I think they've done a good job building that. Today, Bama tried to run it, and they really couldn't run it when the game mattered. I mean, at the end, when they had the subs in, it kind of got different. But they stopped the run, but they just get shredded against the pass, against these good teams. And I just don't know what you do. You've just got to figure out a way to fix that. And how do you fix it is, I think, a big question this program is going to have to, in the offseason, figure out.
A lot of turnover. I don't know how they're going to do it next week because as much as we love to give Beamer and Spencer Rattler hell, they're really good at scoring lots of points through the air. So now we've reached the point in the season where these are 2 really big games on the line because 6-6 and 8-4, they sound a lot different. And not everything will go away, but if you go and beat a 10-win Louisville team, top 10 team on the road, this could be the top 10 stat. You could add one to it, even though it might be kind of a fraudulent top 10 team in Louisville. You can take away a lot of that if you go and win. Now, here's the thing. Do we trust that will happen, Drew? Predictions, final 2 games. Hit me.
I say they will win. I think Louisville's not as good as their record shows, and this team has proven. I know Louisville's been down the last couple of years, but whatever Mark Stoops does in that locker room, they hate Louisville. Going all the way back to playing Meek Mill and Lamar fumbling back in the day, they do not skip a governor's cup. So we could play this back in a few weeks, and I'm wrong, but even after today, I'm still confident with the last 2. But they're not a given by any means. I mean, they're going to be close games, but I think
games.
I'm not throwing away like this team is just done with the year yet.
Yeah, it's 2 toss-up games. I think you look at kind of the 50-50 games entering the game. You had Florida, you had Missouri, you had Tennessee, you had Mississippi State. So far, they're 2-2. Nick, I think they end up going 3-3 in those.
Another 7-5
and they go 7-5. And I think you look at big picture. The last 2 years was 2 massive missed opportunities. I think as this is playing out, you kind of look back to last year and think, well, that schedule they had.
Yeah, it's a gift, Todd.
Right in front of them.
And then now the SEC is about to change. You really kind of missed something there where you could have potentially stacked 2 double-digit win seasons together, and you didn't. And now like that last year's defense,
Yeah.
I think everybody would take that back in a heartbeat after what we've seen playing out this year.
I would just like to not do any more rapid reactions from losses. I'm just sick of it. I don't like doing it. This isn't fun. I'm not having fun. Are you having fun, Drew? Zero fun, sir. Okay, let's get off the snide. Please beat Beamer. I can't watch a game. Can't be there till 11 o'clock at night where they're throwing it 60 times a piece and it's 45-42. This offense, you can't trust them to score a lot of points in a shootout. So they got to create more turnovers. The pass defense has to do something. And then you know what? If Kentucky can do anything against Jack Plummer, it's force him to make catastrophic mistakes because you don't have to force him to do anything. He'll do that by himself. Just stop the run like he did against Alabama. Please, for the love of God, let's end it on a high note. Let's end it with a bang so that we can all have fun again, because what happened today at Kroger Field was not fun at all.